let's talk about some things that I find rather useful to anyone that wants to smoke a pipe that I have realized no one has talked about. No one's talked about where you can smoke a pipe, where to smoke a pipe. If you're in a public setting, where can you go? And I think there are many places you can go and enjoy a pipe. Now you can find online people speaking about this, but there's not really a YouTube video going in depth about this topic. And I feel as if this is a good time and a good place to do that. So, I think the best place to start smoking is in your own home. It's very leisurely. This is your sanctuary, your castle. Now, if you have a house and you're able to do that around the people that are around you and they don't mind the smoke, maybe they don't like the smoke, maybe try an aromatic. That might suffice. When I was growing up, I was around cigarette smoke and around pipe smoke, so I grew up with it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that now I can, I choose not to smoke around my child. I don't do that, and I don't smoke around my wife because she doesn't necessarily like it. So, I smoke outside and in my, on my porch out here. If you have a den to smoke in, I would suggest doing that. I would suggest smoking where there's airflow or AC. I unfortunately don't have that luxury to smoke indoors. So what I would suggest is using the internet and typing in cigar lounge. Cigar lounges are great because it's an environment that you can feel free to relax, have a leisure conversation with someone, and smoke a cigar and smoke your pipe. Where there's a cigar lounge, you will find people smoking pipes there. That is a place I would highly recommend you start if you want to go in public. Another great place is a park. Taking a walk, finding a bench, and sitting at the park, and enjoying the nature, enjoying the view, and taking in a present moment, as it were. And reflect. I mean, that's a great place to reflect and do any thinking, is at a public park bench. And there will be passerby, and they will smell your smoke, and they will be drawn in to that. And you might have someone stop and ask you, "Hey, I haven't seen someone smoke a pipe ever," or "I haven't seen one smoke a pipe since my grandfather was smoking a pipe." And that's a great conversation starter. And that's a great place to have a conversation as well at a cigar lounge, because most people are smoking cigars. A lot of people aren't smoking a pipe. So when they see you smoking a pipe, they're gonna be like, "Wow, this guy, I wonder why he's doing that." They're gonna ask you why you're smoking a pipe. And the gentleman over at the Pipe College actually speaks about this in one of his videos. People will ask you, why you smoke. People will ask you why you smoke a pipe. He talks in a southern. I mean, I have a southern drawl as well, but nothing crazy like that. Nothing of that extreme. I grew up in West Virginia, so the draw out there is way different than the draw, his Southern Carolinian draw. Anyway, the problem for me is smoking outside is I live in Texas, and the Texas heat is extremely can be unbearable at times, and so it is hard to find a good spot indoors to smoke. I would also suggest maybe taking a walk in a downtown area while smoking your pipe. That's another good spot to do it. Here's another spot that a lot of people don't think of, especially veterans, is your American Legion or VFW, whatever is closest. If you're a member there, or you don't even have to be a member to go in. But 9 times out of 10, you can smoke inside of an American Legion, and you can chill out. They got pool tables, they got slot machines, they got lounge chairs, they have an outdoor patio typically. All great places to enjoy a pipe. These are all great places. Now, I would not smoke a pipe um, anywhere where it's a bit uh, inconsiderate of others. Like I wouldn't go out smoking a pipe um, in a busy area. It's just not as it's not normal anymore. Even vaping isn't really, vaping, uh, in a crowded area isn't necessarily popular. Um, I've seen people with vapes kind of, you know, do like a quick little vape number, and that's way different than keeping a lit pipe in your hand. So I would suggest my first suggestion is always, you know, um, go find a place like a lounge. That's my first suggestion is finding a lounge. There's also bars where you can smoke inside some bars. They're not necessarily cigar bars or, smoking bars, but you can smoke there. There are some places that you can do that. But what I've always found out as a Christian man, you don't always want to be in a environment where alcohol is present. Now, I'm not saying that alcohol is bad. I'm just saying that you might not want to be in that environment every time you want to go in public and enjoy your pipe. So you have to, especially if you're a Christian that has problems with alcohol, I wouldn't suggest going to a lounge because there will be alcohol or a bar. There are some lounges that don't have alcohol, but you might have to pay to be there. And there's like a subscription. You have to weigh out whether or not you want to go in public. For me, I don't care. I don't need to be in public. Um, I don't have a problem with alcohol. Um, you know, I just tend to smoke in my own home where I can think properly. I can read what I want to read. I can watch videos if I want to watch videos. Um, and you don't have people approaching you. That's another good thing. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you want to get into a community where you want to smoke with other people, I would suggest trying a lounge or going on Reddit. There are people out there, or finding a community online. Like if you live in for example, let's say you live in Philadelphia. I would type in Philadelphia pipe smoking community. You never know. Because you might want to engage with other guys that they're like-minded individuals. There's not a lot of people my age at 28 smoking a pipe. It's just there's not a lot of that. You know, there really isn't. Most people at my age are smoking vapes or smoking pot. So it's hard for me, and I'm not necessarily wanting to smoke with people my age. That doesn't matter to me, as much as because typically older people can give you more wisdom, and they have more to say. And I'm not really a big talker to begin with. I'm rather of a quiet person. I didn't used to be, but after I joined the army and I did all that army stuff, and I got out of active duty and I joined the reserve, a lot of that extrovertedness had gone away, unfortunately. Pipe smoking used to be very popular. You could go outside and see people smoking a pipe. You can go in public and go indoors and people are smoking, but you can't do that anymore. So it does take a certain individual to want to go out and smoke in public. Anyone can do it. I mean, you can go to the beach and smoke a pipe. I wouldn't take your nice pipe out there. I would take a corn cob like this, some meerschaum, Missouri meerschaum. Uh, this cost me like $8. I wouldn't take a briar to the beach. There's certain places you want to take certain pipes, for sure. Don't want to take your nice pipes in public. Unless it's a lounge. I would take a nice pipe to a lounge, like a clay or a briar. Whatever you want. You could take. I mean, I was gonna go to the lounge today actually, and I was gonna bring this pipe, this Missouri meerschaum, because I'm giving my new briar pipe a break. So anyway, I think that does it for this video for today. I appreciate the new subscribers. I do thank you for that. And I know my videos are pretty low effort. I used to do a lot of the YouTube thing and streaming and editing, and it's just I just lost the love of the art. So I don't edit my videos. I throw an intro music into the first half of the video, and that's it. I don't I appreciate those who come to listen to me talk and enjoy my time while I smoke my pipe. That's really nice. So Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I pray that God blesses you and to those who are watching. And the weekend's almost here, man. Just a couple more days. So, y'all have a great day.